Hi everyone, today I want to show you the Autumn Greetings stamp set, and I made a lot of cards with it, so I thought I would show a bunch to you and then we will make a couple of those cards step by step together. First off, I wanted to point out the stamp set, a few things about it. It's got this really large stamp and I really like it because it is great for coloring techniques, and I love to color with watercolor and colored pencils and also Stampin' Blends or Stampin' Write markers. This works great with all of them. And then I also wanted to show you the dies, because the dies on this I think are quite fantastic. And I have to admit, the reason I bought this set was mostly for the dies, and then since then I've been playing around with it and I really like the stamps too, but the dies just were so great. I loved these edges here, these two little edge pieces, and the wheat stalks, and these pumpkins, and then of course this large one cuts out the large floral image. So they're really fun dies, and I've used every single stamp in the collection already, and I'm going to show you a few. This one I had a video already last week because I made this for some swaps. So here's those dies. This is that little pumpkin and the sentiment right here, and on the inside I used the little leaves. So that was a card, and this has a video if you like that one and you want to check it out. Here's one that's kind of almost the same as one from the catalog. I wanted to use these edgelets as they did, and so I pretty much copied theirs. I think their layout might be more horizontal and more centered, not sure. But it uses those really fun edgelets, and I really wanted to use them. And they kind of, you know, they mimic the wheat, and they're just a little pretty edge. And here are those pumpkins. And I love that they give you a solid pumpkin, which is great for lots of things, and then also this little fun little outline pumpkin, and you can layer like I did here. And this is terracotta tile and Cajun craze, so that's fun. Here's another one that's almost exactly like the catalog, and here I used my watercolor pencils. I wanted to play around with different coloring techniques, and the watercolor pencils were really fun for this. I thought they worked nicely because you can get a nice sharp point and get in these little details, and so these worked really nice. I liked the watercolor pencils with that. Here's another one. It's very similar to one in the catalog. I changed it a little bit, but it's based off of one from the catalog, and I really liked using the blends with it, so I was really happy that I was able to try some different coloring techniques. This is one we'll do together because I really like some of the things that they did here on this one in the catalog, and I want to show it to you. So this was a fun one to do. We'll do that together. And then two more that we'll do. This is showing you that you can use that large stamp, but you don't have to do the coloring. Maybe you're not into coloring. It looks great embossed, and hopefully you can see that gold embossed image. And then here it is just tone on tone in crumb cake, and it just gives that fall image and that feel, but you don't have to do the coloring if you don't want to. And I think also this would look nice colored on crumb cake with watercolor pencils. That's always a fun look, and I may try that again also. So I wanted to do these three cards with you, and I've done some of the work ahead of time so that, you know, like for example, I put these pumpkins together so that, you know, the video won't be quite so long, but I just really wanted to show you how to use this stamp set and these dies because they're really, really fun dies. Here I used every die also, so here's the other edgelet. Isn't that fun? With this really great plaid paper. I'm going to show you that. Here's that plaid paper again, and here are some of the wheat stalk dies. This one uses the large die. This one uses the large die and the pumpkin, the little tiny one. This one uses one different edgelet and the wheat and the pumpkins, and this one just uses the wheat and the little pumpkin. So every single piece of this collection was used on these cards. So I want to show you, I thought I had one out, but I used it. This little card set here, you get 10 envelopes and 10 card bases, and these there we go. These are very vanilla, but you can see that it's got gold foil on the edging and the corners here, really nice. And then the envelope that goes with it is like a brushed metal, also brushed gold envelope. Really fun and pretty, and I really liked the detailing on here, and it's vanilla both inside and out, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes the front is vanilla and the inside is white, and I liked that they carried the vanilla in through the inside as well. So I'm using this on our first card, but I wanted to do what they did in the catalog, which is something they did in the back. Now you've always got the card samples in the front, like, or in the pages that they're on, but if you look through the catalog at the very back, they give you another picture with the bundle together one more time, and so that's where I saw it right here, and I kind of wanted to copy that. And so I thought, okay, did they make a window out of it, or do they place a panel on top of it? And I think they made a window because I can see the little stitching detail, and so I kind of wanted to copy that. So we're going to take the stitched rectangle dies. These are really fun. They have stitching on both the inside and outside of the die, and the great thing about that is that you can use it either way. You can use the piece that's left behind when you cut it out, or you can use the piece that you cut out, and both will have stitching. So that's what I like about that. I'm gonna make sure I get this nice and straight. So I'm gonna cut this out. Okay. Now see what I mean about there being stitching on this part that's left behind after you cut out, plus there's stitching on the cutout, and that's super fun. And I'm going to save this even though it's a cutout from my card. This is a nice piece of Very Vanilla with some cute stitching on it, so I'll put that aside and use that on another project. Okay, so we've got our frame, and then to make the inside of it, I'm going to use some Designer Series paper from the Gilded Autumn Designer Series paper collection, and this has some gold foiling as well. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that, and I want it to be almost the full size of my card front, and I'll put it on the inside, but it's best if you take off just a tiny hair more than you need. So this is 4 1/4, but I'm going to just put it at the 4 1/4 and then just bump it over a tiny bit. And then it's 5 1/2, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it at 5 1/2, then I'm just going to bump it over a tiny bit. There we go. Save that for another time. And then you can just go ahead and add your adhesive to your little window frame here. Now the nice thing about the Designer Series paper is that it's double-sided, and had I thought ahead, I might have turned the paper so that the leaves would be going in this direction, which I think looks more correct. But I didn't plan ahead, so when you do this, plan ahead. But I like that the other side of the paper shows through, and it's the same color family, and it's going to look really great on the inside. Okay. So there's our outside. And then we're going to stamp the large floral image. And I'm going to use Memento Black to do this because I'm going to use Stampin' Blends to color. Okay, now coloring can be tedious to watch, so I'm going to do a lot of it, but I'm going to fast forward through parts of it too. So I'll start out a color and then fast forward so that you don't have to watch all the little details of the coloring once I get going. I'm going to start with the Calypso Coral on the flowers, and I'm going to start with my light and just kind of do a whole wash over the entire flower. Once I've got the entire flower done, I'm going to go ahead and add some highlights with the dark. I'm kind of just doing a little section at a time because once it's dry, it's not as easy to blend. So now I'm going over the light and kind of working that light color at the edge of the dark color to kind of help it not have such a harsh line, which hopefully you'll see when it dries a little bit. And now I'll move on. So I'll fast forward through the rest of the Calypso Coral. Okay, so that's the Calypso Coral color. I'm going to move on to the pumpkin pie. Okay, now on these little flowers here, I went with Mango Melody. Oh, that's Daffodil Delight. That's better. And then I added just a tiny bit of cinnamon cider to the tips. I have these flowers on my front porch right now, these little yellow flowers that have just little brown tips and very fall. I think I choose them for my front porch almost every year, so it's kind of what I'm doing here. Sometimes I can find some that have little red tips and I like those even better, but I didn't see any this year at Garden Center. All right, I also used the cinnamon cider on the wheat stalks. Wheat stalks can be yellowy, or I went with cinnamon cider just because I was using so much yellow on the flower. So I'm doing just light, and I'm also kind of going up on the stalks a little bit just by flicking, and I'm not worrying about covering the entire thing. And this is the light cinnamon cider. And then I just added a little bit of dark cinnamon cider in some of these little wheat stalk centers, just at the little base where the stalk hits the stem, or the seed hits the stem. Okay, that's the cinnamon cider. And now for this, it looks kind of to me like eucalyptus, so I wanted to go with a bluish green, and so I grabbed a newer color called Just Jade. Now the background of the card is actually mint, but I thought the Just Jade worked nicely here, so I went with it. And again, I just added a little bit of the dark Just Jade where the leaf hits the stem. Okay, now for my oak leaves and my maple leaves, I wanted them to be different colors, so I did one in Old Olive and the other in Mossy Meadow. All right, now these little berries, I couldn't decide what color to do, and I ended up deciding to do Cherry Cobbler. I'm adding dark to the base where they touch the branch, and also that little top of the seed. Okay, and I'm realizing that I missed this little stem. Just grab a brown here. And I missed this leaf. Here we go. All right, now that I have that all finished, I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. By the way, this is the new healing, self-healing magnet mat, which is really cool. I like that it's a full magnet sheet, so you don't have to remember where the little magnets are, like on our old one. And sometimes if you placed it down on the mat, they would move because the magnet was just slightly more to one side or the other. This time it's a full magnet sheet. This will work on your old Big Shot. I've tried it. So if you have an old Big Shot and you need a new magnetic cutting plate, you can grab this one. But the new cutting machine, the new stamp, or what is it called? I'm not quite up on my name of it yet. Die and emboss machine. So there, I've got it right, I think. Okay, I'm going to cut this out. Okay, so let's finish this card off. Now all I'm going to do is put some dimensionals on the back. I want it to pop off the page. And I'm even going to use some of our mini dimensionals. I love that we have both sizes now, kind of in some of these parts that stick up. I don't want them to catch on anything. I think that's probably good. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and place this down, pumpkin down. And I guess it could go up, but then it might look like it's falling. And then I wanted to put my greeting up here, and I've chosen the Hello There Friend. And on this one, I used this very vanilla, it's kind of like a cheesecloth. It's so nice, it feels great, but I think I'm going to go with something smaller on this one. And I'm going to go with this gold. I'm just kind of going with that whole gold look. And I'm going to double it up and make a bow. All right. Try and pull it tight. Okay. Trim off. And see how this end is frayed? I'm going to fray this end too. There. And I'm going to put that down with a glue dot right there in the upper corner. And then my greeting is kind of going to go on top of it. Maybe come down just a little bit there. With some dimensionals. I'm going to put a dimensional on either side of the knot just to make sure that I bridge that bump with my greeting. There. So I'm trying to decide which one do I like. Do I like the ivory bow or the gold bow? Anyway, really fun card, and I love the window, and I like that designer series paper on the inside, although maybe you turn yours so that your leaves are pointing in the correct direction. It's a really pretty fall card. So there's that one. That was the longest taking one because of all that coloring, and I think it's fun to color, so to me that was great. But we're going to do the ones that don't require coloring next. Those need a base of crumb cake. These are really simple. So I've got a base of crumb cake, and then I'm going to just stamp my image. Let me clean it first. I'm going to stamp the whole image in crumb cake. Crumb cake is very juicy, as you can see, so hopefully it's not going to be too messy. All right. So on a big stamp like this, it's quite heavy with this block, and so another good choice would be to use your Stamparatus if you have one, because then you can put the stamp directly on that, and if you need to re-ink up an area that that maybe you missed, when you're inking up such a large stamp, it's easy to miss an area. I didn't, thankfully, but if you put this on your Stamparatus to do your stamping, then you know you've got everything, and it just makes life easy. And sometimes I forget to do that because I don't know why, I'm trying to be speedy. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this nice little edge and cut some off of my card. I wanted to stamp first just so that I made sure I didn't cut too much off and then not have enough room. Okay, here's that edge, and here's the fun little other side, and I think that might be good for something like maybe monster teeth on a Halloween tree or something, if you cut them out in white. Anyway, so we got this. And then on the inside, we're going to put a strip of this fun plaid. Now, I did my other one in this pretty peacock plaid, and I kind of decided I wanted to see what it would look like in this plaid. So we can, at the end, we'll see which we like better. But my strip here that I cut off is 1.25 inches by 5.5. And that's just going to go on the inside here. Super cute. I want to show you this plaid paper. I meant to do that before. It's really fun. There are so many colors. It's 6 by 6, so you get 48 sheets. And I wanted to point out that there are some like this that are very fall, and this one's very fall, but also could be really fun for Halloween. So Thanksgiving, Halloween, all of these. This one would carry you through to some masculine cards all year round, though. And then this one I think is great for fall, but again, all year round. And then if you flip them over, they tend to be more neutral. Like here's a nice black and white that you can do with anything. And you can even use your sponge brayer and make a nice pink, so then it's kind of like pink and gray. And then you've got some that are very bright, like that are great for like this. Wouldn't that be fun on anything, a little girl's birthday card or Valentine's? And then you've got reds that would be great for Christmas, but also Valentine's. Here's a great, this one looks like candy corn to me, so that says Halloween. And then you've got, this is a nice purple. Here's, I love this one. They're all just, one is better than the next. I mean, they're just great. Here's a nice black and white. This one screams Christmas. This one screams fall. Here's all pinks. Really cute. Here's some blues. I was even thinking this might be a good baby boy card, and I had this star cutout that I had from a different project, so I thought maybe if I trimmed it I could use, I actually used the star on something, but the leftover piece is kind of fun too, so I was gonna maybe do something like that. And then anyway, they're all just great. So you've got Christmas greens, just all year round. Oh, this was a nice neutral too. So anyway, plaids. And they're selling really well, so I'm worried they're going to go on back order. I bought a couple packs of these. If you think you might want one of these, you might want to grab it fast. Okay, anyway, so I've got this is done. And then I want to show you just how I embellished it. So I grabbed a couple of these pumpkins that I already put together, and I took my liquid glue, and I put them right down, right on top of my nice little fall stamp here. So that's just kind of a fun background stamp. You're going to lay your pumpkins. And then we're going to use some of this linen thread. And that's going to go on a little glue dot right there. And I've already done this greeting, which is going to go just right here at the bottom. This is Rich Razzleberry, in case you were wondering. So this one I think comes together super fast and yet is really adorable. And this is one from the catalog. And you know, those people who put together the catalog are so talented. So casing the catalog, changing up the colors, or adding your own embellishment is perfectly great. It's a great idea because they're so pretty, the catalog samples. And how simple was that? So great. Okay, my last one I wanted to do with you is this one. And again, I'm going to switch up the colors. So I'm using the crumb cake base, and then using that same paper that we just trimmed, I'm now going to cut another piece. This time I'm going to go, I'm going to forget, 3.5 by 4 3/4. And that is just going to go straight down on a slight tilt. And then using the exact same size, this one here, we're going to emboss it in gold. So we'll see which one we like better on that one as well. Okay, so to emboss, we're going to use Versamark ink, which is a clear, sticky ink. I'm not sure if ink is the right word. Sticky substance. And then we're going to so now I like to grab a piece of something from my garbage can, my recycle bin, and we're going to put gold embossing powder on top of this. And I hope that I got, again, a Stamparatus would have been a smart move. Let's see if I got it all. Hard to tell until you heat it up. Okay, let's heat it up, see how we did. I hope that you can see the gold on this, on the video, because it's really pretty and you can really see all the details of all these little flowers. So it's really actually quite pretty. I'm going to go ahead and put that down. And then for some more gold, I cut out some of those wheat stalks. I think I have a couple of them. Yep. Okay. And then using these scraps that we have, we're going to go ahead and make a nice little flag piece. I'm just cutting this 1 inch. And with this little leftover piece, I'm actually going to cut a 3/4 inch piece for the inside, just to have something on the inside. And I'll save this for something else. Alright, so I've got that. I'll put that down. I'm going to flag the end. And we're going to put this on top. So I'm going to go ahead and attach these two together. I'm going to do another linen bow. I don't have a, on this one I did Seaside Spray. I love this ribbon with the linen look to it. It looks great with the crumb cake. I don't have that in Mango Melody or Rich Razzleberry, so I'm going to go ahead and just do another linen bow, which I think this little linen thread is so fun and so pretty and dainty, and I really like it, so I use it kind of a lot. I'm going to go ahead and stick that down. I like that it kind of curly cues. I'm going to give it a glue dot. Alright, there's the outside, and then on the inside I'm just going to use this little strip of plaid that I had left over. I like to use up these strips, and on the insides of cards is kind of a nice way to do it. And then since I have this other little stamp, I thought I'd throw some little leaves on the inside just for fun. Okay, so let's see, do we like the peacock or the rich raspberry? I kind of like them both. This one is so bright, it's kind of fun, different, you know, with that mango on the background of the plaid. You don't see a lot of the mango in the plaid, but I think it looks really fun against that rich raspberry. And then here, this one against this one. Anyway, really fun, and I hope that you like these card samples. I hope that you'll take a close look at this stamp set in the catalog. It's in the mini August to December mini catalog. I think it's a really great stamp set, but I really like the dies. I think they're really fun for fall. I spent like a lot of time cutting out a bunch of these wheat stalks because I know I'm going to use it. They're just great. So think of these on nice pumpkin patch scrapbook pages too. Anyway, hope you like it. These will all be at my blog, bestpapercuts.com. You can sign up for a newsletter there too, where I give weekly, sometimes there's a tutorial, sometimes there's a color challenge, sometimes there's just information about what's going on. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!